And we are live here on Christian Activity Season 1, Episode 35 of the In Work. And
What's good?
today, in this episode, we're going to be discussing the
We are now
Union
live.
Pacific STEAM program.
I can't use my headphones. I don't know why.
Bro. Technical
try.
difficulties, don't worry, this thing happens. Those things happen a lot.
Technical
So let me
difficulties.
just tell you what
Wait,
the Union
does it-
Pacific STEAM program is. And in case if you don't know what that means...
Not American,
I don't know
buddy.
what that means. It's a STEAM program. It's the STEAM...
Okay, guys, let's just talk.
Here, guys, let me explain. So, the Union Pacific STEAM program. The Union Pacific STEAM program is a STEAM excursion program begun by the Union Pacific,
Professional dude, stop.
aka UP for short, in 1960.
You
The
rub me
STEAM
one
program
time, I
has
swear to God,
operated 3 steam locomotives
I swear on it.
in mainline excursion service, those being Union Pacific 844 Northern, number 844, the Living Legend, and
Wait.
4664 Heavy Challenger, Double On Challenger, number 3985, and the 4884 Big Boy, number 4014.
Wait, I have a question.
What's up?
Yes?
When was the train created? That's all I'm saying.
Wait, what did he say?
When was
I said
when was
He asked when was the train created.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And also, Shane O mentioned that the established that the Union Pacific Steam Program began 6 years before the Southern Steam Program.
My bad.
Okay, it's fine, you're good. Listen, okay, so the Union Pacific has begun for 6 years. Oh, wow, just before Southern Pacific.
I meant
Wait,
the
but
Union
just out of
Pacific-
curiosity, just curious. Was
No,
it
the
during
Union
the Civil
Pacific-
War?
no, the
Because
Union
remember,
Pacific-
the Civil War
No, the Union Pacific Steam
Transcontinental.
Program. The Union
wasn't there?
Pacific Steam Program actually began in 1960. That was 6 years
Oh
before
wow,
the
that was
Southern
just
Railway
that
Steam
was during the
Program
Cold War.
began.
Wow, that was just during the Cold War.
And when
Well,
was CSX created
What's
or
up?
the Union Pacific
And the
created?
Southern Steam
can I finish what I
Program
said
was
earlier in
larger
the
than the
Discord
Union
chat?
Pacific Steam Program.
If you
And
want
Noah
to, sure.
Rail Fender said that he missed it.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
unfortunately,
Oh, boo
That's fine.
hoo.
Like,
maybe
anyways,
when
I have a
someone leaves,
question.
then you can join.
Union
Elijah.
Pacific sometimes, like for me, I always have Union Pacific in my area. People say,
Alright,
like,
let me-
a lot of rail
let me
vendors
tell
in
you-
the server that I'm in with Thunderbolt server and everything. They say, dude, that's good. You know, it's good that you have a freight train there. And I'm like, bro, I want to see a passenger train though. You know, I want to see Amtrak. You know, I wanna
Anyways,
see
the
other
first steam
passenger
locomotive,
trains.
we're only going to mention steam locomotives because
Okay, no
it
diesel
depends on
locomotives.
which
All right,
title
because
we
it's steam. Oh yeah, it's a steam program in the title. Yeah. Okay.
But
Can I
anyways,
finish what I said earlier in
we're
the
going to read
Discord
about
chat?
4014.
I'll read it.
All right. Just send us the link for it, Elijah.
Here.
I sent it
It's
in
already-
a private chat. Make sure to double check it, Dominic.
Okay.
All right, I
Guys.
can see that.
Oh, my favorite engine, Big Boy. It's my third
Guys.
favorite engine.
Boy.
Hey, Kieran.
What's up?
What was
I
that?
haven't
Oh
seen
my
you in a
God.
long time.
Damn.
How
Oh,
come
hey,
you've never
what's
been in
up?
Discord
Hey.
these days?
Hey, Rail Fanner.
I've
Rail
been busy
Fan,
in
okay.
life.
Guys, can I say something?
I
What's
know.
up?
I'm
I
also
did just say I
busy
was
with
about to
school
start.
stuff. I got this
my-
new book. Let me show you. It's called The Only Ivan. I could show you how it looks like. This is the book that I'm gonna read in school.
Okay.
Elijah.
Lucky you.
Too bad I haven't started.
I got
know,
another
because one of
Honor
the
See a
reasons
Glass of
why
Titanic,
I could be
actually.
part of the solution. I've been busy with my
Why are
Thomas
you on your bed,
remakes
dude?
too. I've been busy working on going for walks with my family, and I didn't get the chance to read it. And it's because the infamous JP, how he screws up everything, and we took only 3 to 4 hours with my.
Basically,
remake.
we just had a drama. You know,
Yeah,
what
JP
Elijah's
really
trying
gets
to say.
everything
Yeah,
on
Yeah,
the
basically the
drama
entire
of
world went to
Discord.
volatile shit.
But we can't. But whoa,
Wait,
whoa,
I
okay,
thought we
can't
all
say-
had
we
an
can't say that much.
agreement.
Okay, we
No,
can
no.
say a little bit of bad words, but don't say that much. Okay, we can say
I
a
said
little
hit.
bit
I
more.
just said hit.
Okay.
Because you two might.
Volatile
I thought we had an agreement.
I'm sorry, Zane. You can't join because 6 is the maximum number.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude,
people
6
you
is.
know.
All right, I'm about to
Yeah,
start
I
reading.
think
He
like
can
to read the
only
thing.
come if someone.
Hey,
leaves.
guys, let Trafford say it. Come on, Trafford, go ahead.
Union
Guys,
Pacific all
professional. Please.
Owned and operated by the Union Pacific as part of its heritage fleet.
Bro, why are
It is
you
the
going coming
first-
from? Why are you coming from me?
Not
I'm
that
not even
hard
speaking to
in the
you.
brain.
Shush while I'm speaking.
Well, we gotta be
Shh.
quiet, dude.
Guys, I just don't want my
Yeah.
parents to. Yeah.
Okay.
This man is watching. No, I'm just playing. I'm not going that way too far. If I said that, we were gonna get banned automatically.
Shut up.
Guys,
Make me.
silence. Snap the fat controller. I'm not gonna be too harsh, too. I'm just gonna be nice and polite.
All right, I'm about to start. I'm about to start from where I was cut off at.
Yo.
Oh shoot.
Not that way, idiot.
Not that.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Just read. Just
Okay. I think Manuel, you should read the big boys.
Yeah, I'll just read it because like honestly, this is not okay. Union Pacific Big Boy. We already know who it is. Honestly,
It's 40.
Well, we could
should
treat
we
it.
send a picture to be
Of
honest?
course
We
it
can
is,
know.
because I've seen
We
it
can show to the
before,
audience
twice.
what it is.
I could show you how 4014 looks like.
Yeah. Show it to everyone. Okay, for those who don't know the Union Pacific Big Boy, we already know why it's called Big Boy because it's heavy. Like it has a lot of steel, and I quote a lot of steel.
And
Someone
two
referenced it as the
sets
big
of-
ball of steel. That's what someone
two
told me.
sets of
Guys,
steam cylinders and
guess
driving
what?
wheels on a simple articulated frame.
No, we are not doing out of context there. Okay.
Guys, there's a new train that's
Big
they
boy.
said they're building a new train next week. It's gonna get
Yeah,
done
I
in
heard.
November.
Yeah, and we're still doing it in November, even to this day. Yeah, I heard.
Which
All right,
train
I
are
have to
you
go,
talking
guys.
about?
Okay, Union Pacific 4014 is also known as the
Okay.
Big Boy, and it's a steam locomotive owned and operated by the Union Pacific, or UP for short, as part of a heritage fleet. It has
Except
four
Zane.
cylinders, simple arc calculated 4-8-4-4 Big Boy type built in 1941 by the American Locomotive Company, or ALCO for short.
Oh wait, I'm in.
That's in Shenderite Locomotive Works. It was assigned to haul heavy freight trains in the Wasatch Mountain Range. The locomotive was retired from Reneview service in 1959. Oh wow, it was built in 1941 and then in 1959. I was like, I can't do the math right now, but I would say probably it just lasted for like 10 or 14 years, I would say. I'm not 100% sure, but if you guys know the math, tell me. Leave a comment below. And as was done and donated to the Railroad and Locomotive Historical Society, or RLHC for short, or I'm sorry. Thereafter, it was displayed in Fairplex at the Rail Giants Train Museum in Panama. I apologize if I didn't pronounce that right. Pomona, California. There we go. In 2013, UP required the locomotive and launched a restoration project as its steam shop in Shawnee, Wyoming in May 2019, number 4014. Moved under its own power for the first time after sitting dormant for almost 6 decades, becoming the world's largest operational steam locomotive and the only operating by Big Boy locomotive of all the 8 that remain in existence. It now operates an excursion service for the UP steam program. Number 4014 became the first mainline steam locomotive to be equipped with the new official, quote, positive train control, or PTC for short, system in 2021. Now, a little bit of context here, to be honest. I do not like positive train control, okay? I just think that positive train control is just taking over advantage, We cannot rely on technology to do everything for us,
Exactly.
We can't rely on technology. Technology one day would strike us out, Heck, they might even, I don't know, do the humanity, do the human race. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm quoting a little bit of Star Trek, to be honest. I'm sorry. I'm
What's your opinion on Star Trek?
It's an okay show. Kind of reminds me of Star Wars.
I've not
Yeah,
seen
but
it before.
Star Wars is better.
I mean, Star Wars, yeah, but but someone says there's a majority of the movies that are bad. I mean, there is a lot of movies that are bad. Cars 2, for example, and the Star Wars.
What's your opinion on
the
Cars?
infamous
What's your
Misty
opinion on
Island.
Cars 2?
I don't like it. That makes sense. It just reminds me of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. There was no plot.
Every
What's the plot?
character is stupid, but it's way
I
worse.
thought you liked
Respect
Thomas
I
and the
like
Magic
Thomas.
Railroad.
I mean, I
I
do
like
like it, but
Thomas.
the plot did not make sense. That's the thing.
I
It's about a
mean,
magic
I
engine
mean-
that just somehow makes the engines alive.
Thank you. Oh my.
Bless you.
Bless
Bless
you.
you.
Oh my gosh.
That's a
Well-
load of BS, to be honest. That's a load of
Well, be
BS.
glad
I mean-
they didn't
Well, I
carry
think it
that
does
on into
make sense
season
because,
6.
Well, I mean, at least there's way worse
There's
movies than Thomas, to
sparkles.
be honest. What about Misty Island? Hey, that was worse. That's the worst movie of them all.
How
Please do not make me
about
watch
the
that.
live
You
action
guys are
Cat in the
aware
Hat
of it. That's the
movie?
worst.
Garbage.
That one was
Pail
alright.
Kids
That one was
2.
alright, I guess. You know, not opinion about that, but yeah.
How about Transformers 4: Age of
Jeez.
Extinction 2?
Oh, Transformer movies? Yeah, I like that. I love it.
But the fourth one was the worst.
Yeah,
one.
I like the
Age of
real
Fourth
life.
one, yes. The fourth one sucked very much. It sucked.
There's a
very
new one
bad.
coming soon, though. There's a new one coming
Star Wars:
soon.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Anyways, but my point is, like, with positive train control, like, we all know there's been accidents with positive train control that people still try to
Right,
do,
that's
like
right.
the Frankfurt Junction, for example. But we don't have to talk about that. But just examples that, you know, PTC was equipped, it could have prevented the accident, you know? It could have prevented the accident, but honestly, no. Like, technology with positive train control, I just
Oh,
think
my
we just have to
friend
have more
Ray.
engineers and stuff,
My
you know?
friend Ray from
Oh,
that
the
was
Citizen
originally
Central
from
Railroading
West
is probably
Hospital.
the
He said,
worst.
"What is my favorite train to
True.
visit through town?
Because
Maybe the
Other-
Southern Pacific
oh.
4449 steam locomotive because it's my number one all-time favorite steam locomotive in the
because
entire world."
but this
And
is-
Ray, if you're actually watching this, I'm gonna show you a picture of how it looks like.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
this-
get your point. But like positive train control, it could have prevent accidents like as I said, the Frankfurt Junction accident when the Amtrak sped through a curve and derailed, and it ended
That's how
up
the
killing 8
locomotive
people.
looks like, Ray. Ray, if you're actually watching this is how Southern Pacific 4449.
Southern
looks
Pacific
like.
4499. I mean, that is honestly your title of your YouTube channel. By the way, it's obviously simple.
Yeah,
Do you
And
also
because
love it more than
it
611
says
because
SP
it's more colorful?
4449 fan.
It might be my second favorite engine. Okay, Southern Pacific 449 would be my second favorite engine. My first engine is
No.
honestly the 475 at Norfolk and Western engine. I love that
It's
engine.
Norfolk
Yeah,
and
we
Western
also-
yeah, the engine that got
Also,
involved in
I'm
that
Elijah,
also gonna
accident.
when
see
me and you
it when
go-
I go to
when me-
Strasbourg with Alan.
Oh, that's
Me
nice.
and Elijah are gonna go to Strasbourg on May 28th.
Oh yeah, and if you guys did not know, 477 also got in a wreck with one day in. I think it was like, wait, when did it happen? I forgot. Was it February?
It was
November.
involved in an
When-
accident with a crane.
Yeah,
it was
an
involved in
excavator.
In the early
Excavator.
afternoon,
Yeah, it got involved in an accident.
around.
But it was
2
repaired,
3,
nonetheless.
4
It was
p.m.
repaired.
on Saturday.
Yeah, but the
around
repairman,
1
I
to
did
4
not like,
p.m. on
honestly.
People were
on
just, oh
Wednesday,
my god, I
November
cannot
2nd,
even tell you guys
2022.
what I just saw in a comment. When I posted that community tab on YouTube, one of them said, no, that's not 475. That's Topi and the breakdown crane. I'm like, bro, are you quoting Solar Fallout? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like,
hey,
you're not funny. You're not
Hey,
that guy,
guys.
pal. Trust me. You're not
And
that
one
guy.
thing,
No one likes
475
Solar Fallout.
got its new cowcatcher.
No one,
and
it's
I don't even
overrated
see that as an
now.
ever cowcatcher nowadays.
It was
Those
cringe
bars to
anyway.
get up in front of
Can
we, like,
475
move
to
on?
make
I mean,
them
I do
feel
subscribe
right.
to people that make Solar Fallout, like Percy and the Beast Productions. He makes great content. That's actually
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
I like his content, you know? Sometimes I like
And
Mock.
nowadays, Solar Fallout is overrated.
I mean, it's true. It is. The fandom was all right with it. In the beginning, everything was fine. You know, like, oh, Solar Fallout, you know, Atomic Annihilation, just like Fallout, you know, because I used to
But
play
then all
Fallout
of a
sometimes.
sudden, things got way from bad
Yeah.
to worse.
Honestly, yeah. But anyways, let's continue with the Union Pacific thing. Okay, so let's talk
Yes,
about the
this is
history
what I was
about
trying
this
to say.
engine. And honestly, there's a lot of history about the Big Boy, to be honest. A lot of history, to be honest.
Like, boys
Anyways,
rule.
let's talk about the history about it. The Big Boy class was developed by Union Pacific, which we already know. The chief mechanical officer Otto J.B. Mann, and built by the American Locomotive Company, again ALCO, in the 1940s to handle the 1.14 eastbound
It's
ruling
also
grade
called
of the
ALCO.
Wasatch Range. Yes, basically. J.B. Mann determined that his goals for a new class could be achieved by making several changes to the existing 4-6-4 Challenger design, enlarging the firebox to about 235 by 96 inches, 5.97 m, and 2.44 m. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I cannot do the math. I'm bad with math. Math honestly
Yeah,
rots my brain.
yeah.
You're not alone.
Yeah,
Rots
like-
my brain.
Guys, hey, guys, like when I was like a little younger, math was easy, but right now it's getting a bit hard.
I can only do my multiplication like from 1
Math
to
is
10.
pretty
That's
much
it.
all.
Nothing
I
else.
mean, it is easy.
Math
Game has
sucks,
begun now.
honestly.
Oh,
Math game's done
please.
now.
The graphing? Oh my god, I do not get it. I do not get the graphing. The graphing confused me. Honestly. Anyways,
do graphs
about
anymore.
155 square feet or 14.4 amps to lessening the boiler, adding four driving wheels, and reducing the diameter of the driving wheels from 69 to 68 in 1,753 to 1,727.
My mic is sorry.
It's fine.
My mic is so quiet, and
it's fine. It's fine, Zane. I'm reading right now.
I gotta go.
All right, bye, Zane. Yeah.
Bye, man.
All right. The big boy was calculate. I mean, no, hold on. Calculate. No, dang it. Calculated. Calculated.
With some words.
I was right. All right. Like the Mallet locomotive design, although without compounding, it was designed for stability at 80 miles per hour.
Stability at 80 miles an hour, aiming for a wide margin of reliability and safety as steam locomotives normally operated well by high-speed and freight service.
And of course, it was longer than two city buses and weighs more than, and I quote, not gonna lie what I'm gonna say, a Boeing 747. We already know what a Boeing 747 looks like. We don't have to talk about it. We already know.
Yes, I see planes before.
We
I'm
can
not a big
most
fan of them,
definitely
though.
hear that.
Obviously, 477. I mean, 74. Oh my god, what I just said.
Go on.
All right. Anyways, let's continue the other one. Okay.
Excellent.
Renovue and service and retirement. Who wants to read that?
Hey, Shane. No. Hey, JP.
Alan, you want to do it?
Because I see you watching this live stream.
All right, dude. Let's just try doing this.
JP.
Okay, anyways, I'll read it. Okay, Renovue Service and Retirement. Okay, Ulco, the American railroad company, built number 414 in November of 1941 at a cost of, I quote, $265,174,000, and delivered it for the following month to the Union Pacific, where it was placed in Renovue service. Number 4014 was part of the first group of 20 big boys classified as 4884-1, designed to haul 3,600 short ton, 3,214 long ton, 3,266 ton of freight trains over Utah's Wasatch Range. Number 4014 and the other 24 big boys rudely pulled freight trains off up to 4,200 short tons, 3,750 long tons, 3,810. On April 2nd, however, 1943, it pulled 65 freight cars between Oregon, Utah, and Evanston, Wyoming, with a total of 5,530 HP, 4,120 kW. Number 4014's last routine repairs took place in 1956. The locomotive completed its final Renovue run on July 21st, 1959. Just hours before the last Renovue run by any big boy, it had traveled 1,031,205 miles, or 1,659,564 km during its 20 years of Renovue services. Union Pacific retired number 4014 on December 7th, 1961. All of the remaining big boys were retired by 1962, when during their duties were taken over by diesel locomotives and gas turbine electric locomotives, or GTLC for short. That same year, however, the Union Pacific donated number 4014 to the Southern California chapter of the Railway and Locomotive Historical Society in Panama, California, where it became one of the 8 big boys preserved around the U.S. In late 2012, however, Union Pacific officially announced that they would obtain a big boy locomotive and restore it to operationally condition for excursion services. UP contacted the Southern Californian chapter of the Railway and Locomotive Historical Society, or LHS for short, if they could require the number 4014 locomotive from them.
Alan,
on July 23rd,
someone
2013.
said something.
The
Noah
RLHS
Girlfriender
agreed
said
to
that you
transfer
unfriended
ownership
him.
of number 4014 back to the
Wait,
Union Pacific.
no.
On November
Wait,
14th of
I'm
that
putting
year
you
of
in
2013, number
Yes.
4014
Again,
I
began
think I
its
must have
journey to the
accidentally
UP
did
Steam
that
shop
when
in
I
its
tried to
Shining.
make room for my friend list in
It
Roblox
was
for another
pulled from
friend.
its display site and at the museum on temporary track to
Hey,
adjacent
guys.
parking lot. Hey, on January
Hey
26,
guys, I have a
2014.
question for y'all.
What?
All right, go ahead.
Just listen.
Bruh.
Okay,
You know what?
if I got a copyright takedown notice on the 16th, and it would be removed in 7 days. On after the 7 days, if what day would that be? 7 days after, if 16th, if it was the 16th and 7 days later, in 7 days, which is 7 days later, would that be the 23rd, which is today?
I would say that's a different mathematical sense here, to be honest. Like, it doesn't make sense.
I would say 23rd. Don't you agree?
Yeah, me too. I would say that too. Yeah.
Yeah, because if it's the 16th and 7 days later, in 7 days, if it was the 16th, would the 23rd be in 7 days?
Yeah. No, I get your thing. You're not the guy. You don't
Yeah,
have to say
it would. If it was the 16th, would this 23rd be in 7 days?
Alright. Excuse me. Anyways, on January 26th of that year, 2014, by number 1996, an SD70 Ace diesel locomotive painted into Southern Pacific colors. It presently arrived at UP's West Colton Yard in Wilmington, California, where it sat on display until April 28th, when it began its journey to Shane. After arriving at the steam shop's roundhouse on May 8th of that year, number 4014 sat largely idle for 2 years while the UP steam crew worked to overhaul number 844. The steam shop was also used the time to expand and upgrade its facilities to accommodate a big boy. In August of 2016, however, a month after number 844's repairs and inspection were complete, UP Union Pacific officials announced that the restoration work of number 4014 had begun under Heritage Fleet Operations Director Ed Dickinson. By early 2017, the locomotive had been completely disassembled. Some new parts were fabricated, including the rod brassers, top boiler check valve, and lubricator check valves. The driving wheels were sent to be repaired by the Strasburg Railroad in Strasburg, Pennsylvania, for crankpin and axle work, as well as installing new tires. And I know you're thinking, like, tires? Like, that's not a car, that's a train. Yes, but back then, steam engine, and there's something else too, I also learned this, steam engines were also called, the steam engine's wheels were also known as tires, because sometimes the front axle of the wheels would also they sometimes would be damaged or sometimes overheated, and they had to be replaced to prevent serious accidents. Because like some of those wheels can sometimes cause accidents, which is, for example, what happened in Germany in 1996 of the ice train incident that happened when an ice train came too fast and hit a bridge by damaged wheels, causing the coaches to derail. But yeah, you get my point though. So they had to be replaced to prevent accidents like this, because that accident was honestly a wake-up call to the Railroad Administration. The FRA, Federal Railroad Administration. They had to make new laws and everything to make sure accidents like this never happen. Continuing, okay, the work included one major alteration. Converted the coal-burning locomotive to run on number 5 fuel oil. This was done by replacing the firebox grates with a fire pan and an oil burner. This made number 4014 the first big boy to undergo a coal-to-oil conversion since number 4005, which ran on oil from 1946 until it was converted back to coal in 1948 due to an uneven heating in its large single burner firebox. I mean, that was a good call, honestly. If they did that, to be honest, it could have been way serious if they haven't replaced that to like.
Oh yeah,
you know.
not to mention too. Also, 4005 was also involved in an accident in 1953. Imagine. if
Yeah,
this
we
was-
already know what that incident was happening, but it was repaired though. That's the thing. That's what everyone says. You know, everyone
Yeah,
said it was repaired and
and
everything.
actually, it's still around today, still in Denver,
Yeah, wow, that's
Colorado.
actually so amazing. He went through a lot of painful derailment, and look, it just comes back, just like Henry, you know, flying kipper accident, boom, he derails, he gets hit, he sends the
Yeah.
crew, and he
It's a
brought him
shame
back
that-
to a new boiler.
It's a shame that
But
three
yeah,
crew
it's like
members
that.
sadly perish.
Yeah, exactly, true. That is true. All right. Anyways, where was I? Oh yes. In March 2018, it was reported that the process of putting the locomotive back together had begun. Of course, 10 months later, the locomotive's restoration was nearly finished. In December 2018, Union Pacific asked the Federal Railroad Administration, or FRA, as I mentioned earlier, to exempt UP nose numbers 4014 and 844 from federal positive train control, or PTC for short, requirements. In February 2019, the FRA officials responded that such waivers were not needed. On February 6th of 2019, however, number 4014's boiler passed a hydrostic test, and the locomotive was successfully test fired on April 9th. Around 9 p.m. on May 1st of 2019, number 4014 moved under its own power for the first time in almost exactly 60 years prior. The following evening, the locomotive made its first test run from Cheyenne to Nunn, Colorado. And yeah, like, if you guys don't know that much of positive train control, Elijah, can you set them a little picture about what they look like, what positive train control does and everything? Well, I mean, we do know what positive train looks like, you know? It's where, like, if an engine, like, let's say there's a, let's just say we have a locomotive, right? Like an SD-70 or something, you know, like a Union Pacific one, or a passenger train. Let's just say an Amtrak AC-64, right? Let's just say that. And, like, the AC-64 is passing through a lot of red signals. And like the
ACS-64
system inside, it alerts them of what's happening, you know? Right here, you can see right here, obviously, they use GPS and everything. And if, like, you know, like, if the engineer doesn't, like, ignore the signals, then positive train, like, you know, then, like, you know, let's say the engineer somehow gets either incapacitated or simply ignores the signals, right? Of course, you know, like, alarm goes off, you know, the alarm goes off. And if the engineer doesn't do nothing, then the train just stops. It is still used even to this day. But I mean, there is a lot of accidents that concerns people saying that positive train control could have prevented more accidents, like the Frankfurt Junction, or heck, even the Chase Maryland collision in 1987. But honestly, I would say I don't think that would have been prevented, to be honest, at all. I mean, there is a lot of controversies when it comes to those kind of disasters, you know. People also said, and honestly, I'm not lying, but people say, like, if positive train control would have done with the Big Bayou wreck, they say it could have prevented the accident of the Big Bayou wreck if, you know, positive train control was on the Amtrak train. And for me, I would say no. Like, the reason it happened was because the barge hit a broken rail and it did not snap, and it didn't tell the engineers that something was wrong on the train. That's what led up to the accident. But people say, like, oh, the engineer was just probably going too fast. He didn't see the bridge. No, nothing like that.
Trains can travel up to 72 miles an hour or whatnot.
I mean, passenger trains, I mean, like, they travel, like, around, I would say for me, as an expert, I would say around 80 or 90 miles an hour for passenger trains. Because average freight trains travel, like, 60 or 70 miles an hour. That's not too fast. I mean, it is fast, but it's just not as much fast.
Some areas can travel up to 80 miles an hour, while some other areas, like, I'm not sure where, like commuter trains and whatnot, they could travel up to 100 or 110 miles an hour.
Well, yes, that is. But to be honest, like, installing a positive train control, a system inside an old heritage engine, which is the UP 40, you know, the big boy 4014, like, I would say it's not a good idea at all, because I mean, I know people might think, like, wait, what do you mean it's not a good idea?
Hey
like,
guys,
save the environment.
Train Drill Center,
it would, but it would not be anything else, because how would you? Because first of all, this is an old steam engine. First of all, this is an old steam engine we're talking about.
on my computer.
with positive train control, I would say the positive train control could just stay there with just diesel locomotives, just with the new diesel locomotives to prevent more diesel locomotives from being involving accidents, For me, I would say that. That's all I can say,
Yeah, but
Not putting positive train control on an older steam engine, that's like a bad idea because there's a lot of there's something wrong with positive train control when it comes to engines like this,
well, here's
But
the thing,
anyways,
though.
but yeah, you get my
But here's
point.
the thing. But here's the thing, though, too. If the steam engines don't have positive train control, they cannot lead trains.
Well, true. That is true. But we can't rely on technology, dude. That's the thing. We cannot rely on technology doing everything for us. It's just like another incident like Megantic. The MMA reduced the engineers, the crew. Just like instead of 3 crews, the driver, like the engineer, the fireman. I mean the brakeman. Well, we don't have firemen anymore because it's diesel. But the brakeman and the conductor, the engineer, both all 3 of these need to be with all trains. But however, with MMA, they reduced the crew to only 1 person, just the engineer. Trains cannot run with just 1 crew member. They have to run at least 5 or 2 crew members, at least 5 or 3 crew members. It's like the Titanic, Titanic cannot go with just 1 crew because it's a big ship after all. It's a big ship and you need to have everything inside because the big ship and they need to have another personality in there. They need at least around 200 crews. So, and I did my research about how many crews were on board and there were around 270 crew members on board of the Titanic.
Yeah.
200 of them. That's impressive, but that shows an example though, train crews cannot run, trains cannot run with just 1 engineer. They need to have a conductor with them to make sure the signals are bad, to see if there's signal wrong. Main's wrong, just dispatch work, just regular normal.
But on the MMA, the reason they did that is because I did learn some history that they were into financial problems, like money issues, because they were using locomotives that were not maintained properly, and they're losing money badly.
I mean, they were losing money, and that accident at Megantic would just shatter their company.
They shattered their reputation so badly, and no wonder why
Exactly.
they filed. No wonder why they filed for bankruptcy.
I mean, yeah, they did get filed with that. I mean, they deserved it, to be honest, even though it was, Anyways,
Well, they
we're
had
at the
it coming,
excursion
too.
services. Anyway, we're almost done with this. Okay,
All right,
upon the
finish it.
completion of the restoration of number 4014, joined by railroads, never retired in number 844 steam locomotive in the excursion service. Number 4014 also became one of the world's largest operational steam locomotives, displacing and later replacing number 3985, which was in poor mechanical condition at the time. Number 442. Number 4014 was restored to operation. And for those who don't know, what's the number 3985? Elijah, can you send them a picture of what it looks like? The number 3985. We need to know what that engine looks like. Well, I mean, we do know what it looks like. It's obviously another Union Pacific big boy, but not the much big boy we see even to this day. In May of 2019, number 4014 made its first excursion run amid the celebration marking 150 years since.
The 3985 is not actually a big boy. It's actually a heavy Challenger. Because
a heavy Challenger. Oh, the heavy Challenger. Yeah, I heard that engine before.
Because 3985 is a 4664. I mean, the 4 leading wheels, 2 sets of 6 driving wheels, and 4 trailing wheels. That's what a 4664.
Yeah, and it also said that it had poor mechanical conditions. And what are the mechanical problems it had back in the day when 4014 was, I think I would say probably coal, fire burn, I would say. This is not like a Gettysburg boiler explosion that we see from Thunderbolt's videos. It's not bad.
No, it's not. Well, it can't be that bad.
I mean, it could be. I'm just saying,
Because one of the reasons why the previous Union Pacific employees and volunteers didn't do a very good job at the restoration of 3985, the massive restoration between 1979 and.
But that's the question. If they knew there were problems with the engine, why let them run it? That's the thing. How would you know an engine is safe if you haven't done inspections with the engine? That's the thing. How would you not know that this engine is having some mechanical problems? You never know that. I mean, you can tell right now what engines are having problems. You know, engine problem, mechanical problems. Like you could see everything. You know, just like Megantic. You know that the 5018 engine had a lot of mechanical problems before the runaway happened.
You mean the 5017?
5017, yeah. I thought it was 5018.
And the same with the Canadian National 3254 steam engine, the infamous.
Oh yeah, that
Canadian
steam
National
engine. Yeah, definitely. It had a lot of mechanical
Canadian
problems.
National 3254, the can Canuck.
Anyways, following on May 4th. Okay, anyways.
If you guys don't know what 3254, the can Canuck looks like, it looks like this.
Yeah, it looks like that actually. Like the pictures here, that looks very honestly.
Guys, it's my opinion. I actually like Canadian National 3254.
I mean, that's understandable. I like it too. But sometimes it depends on the engine itself. Okay.
It was a terrible locomotive during
I mean, it
service,
was
but
indeed. It was indeed, but it
That's
wasn't
your
like
opinion.
that bad
I
like other
understand.
locomotives. You know, it wasn't as bad as the locomotives back in the day.
because it caused a boiler.
I mean, it did cause a boiler explosion. Yes, that is true. It did happen.
Because according to Overpass Steve Productions, he doesn't like the 3254. It's because of the lawful good to chaotic evil too.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, following it
Hey,
on
guys, also,
May
you know,
4th,
what do you guys
christening at
think
the
of the
Sharon
Canadian
Depart
Pacific Steam
Museum.
Train?
Yeah. Shannon Depart on May
Thanks,
4th,
Maine
the
Pacific
Shannon Depart the
2317.
Depot Museum,
Another
number
steam town
4014,
locomotive.
Yeah.
double-headed with number 844, traveled to Ogden, Utah. Number 414 subsequently made 2 hours on its own from July 8th to August 8th. It visited the Midwestern United States, including brief stops at St. Paul Union Depot, or SPUP for short, and the Lake Superior Railroad Museum. It then toured the southern western United States from September 27 to November 26. Of course, it will also lead up into the present time back in 2020, which we already know, we don't have to say. But during the COVID-19 pandemic, which we all know, we didn't like that, it happened. UP announced in March 2020 that it would cancel that year's steam operations with NOS with number 414 and 844 because of the COVID of the pandemic. Of course, if the pandemic changed everything, I'm just saying this: the pandemic changed everything, but it doesn't mean like we have to sit in the corner and take our own lives. That's not true. That's not true. We can't do that.
I don't know who said that, but that's not.
I mean, someone said that in the random video. To be honest, someone sent me that in Discord. Another someone in the Discord, which I will not mention their names because we don't want them to be offended. But like, someone said that. And I mean, no, but I also found videos too that someone did say they tried doing that during the pandemic. Someone said that. It was from a Dr. Phil's show. Yeah, it was from Dr. Phil. Yeah, I love that.
Sometimes.
Anyways, excursion. Because of resulting of the pandemic, however, the operations resumed in August and September of 2021, a year later, with number 4014 doing its tour stops in Fort Worth and Houston, Texas, New Orleans, Louisiana.
I actually went there to see that.
Oh, really? Nice. North Little Rock, Arkansas, St. Louis, Missouri, and Denver, Colorado. Also in 2021, number 4014 became the first mainline steam locomotive to be equipped with positive train control equipment. Still have second thoughts about that equipment being inside of it. Still have second thoughts about it. On April 11th of 2022, however, UP originally announced that number 4014 would tour the northwestern United States starting on June 26th in commemoration of UP's 160th anniversary, but the tour was postponed on April 22nd instead, so UP could reduce supply chain congregation. In late July 2022, number 4014 was pulled in and put in a museum of special excursion between Sharon and the Denver Union Station to benefit the Union Pacific Railroad Museum. And you can still see it even to this day. And that's it. You can still see it even to this day, and that engine is still there, to be honest. It's just being it's not being scrapped or nothing, which that's actually good. That's good that the engine's
a lot of people think are overrated.
I mean, I understand that, but people think that the 4499 is honestly overrated. I mean, no offense. I'm just saying. I heard a lot of people say that.
Also, 33 is and Shane O's honest opinion, 3254 was a great locomotive, just like its sibling 3377. Well, in my honest opinion, I have to prefer 3377. And he mentioned which articulated steam engine is better, 1218 or 2156.
Honestly, that's a tough choice, to be honest. That's
I like both of them, but I like UP 3985 better.
Yeah, I kind of have to go with Rail Fender, to be honest. I'm gonna go with
me
Rail,
too.
with
Even
Rail
though
K
1218 is more powerful, and 3095 can only operate a tractive effort at 97,350 pounds.
Yeah.
And how about Norfolk and Western 1218?
Well, I like both, but I just prefer UP 3985.
No, that's understandable. That's understandable.
And how about 1218? How much tractive effort can this locomotive produce?
That's
126,000 pounds.
That's insane.
That's insane. Yeah.
But 4014 can operate at the highest tractive effort in excursion service at 138,240 pounds. Not kidding you.
I'm hoping one day to see 844 one day.
I want to see 844, 4014, and especially the famous 39.
I want to see this in person. I want to see the 475 Western engine, and of course the Cotton Belt locomotive one that's been preserved in
819. Norfolk and Western 611. It's at
611,
Arkansas,
at the Arkansas Railway Museum.
I probably want to see all the steam engines around the world. That's my goal.
Well, it depends.
It depends.
But yeah, you get my point though. Like the thing is, like these engines back in the day, they used to be the old reliable, just like the infamous old reliable Edward.
Sorry.
I mean, what? Like, I mean, those engines in British Railways, they relied on the engines in the 1910s. I would say, in the 1910s, they relied on them. I mean, Edward's engine was honestly based off of, what the engine was based on. And those engines were so popular in British rails, and there's no denying it. I mean, for me, I might not know that much of like engines like that, but we did see one from the Night to Remember from the Titanic movie that we saw from the Toon Squad server. There was an engine like that in the beginning of the movie. It was just where Lightoller was just they were introduced the new characters. They introduced the characters, they introduced Lightoller, they introduced other characters, Just basic, just the basics. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm gonna read about Pacific 844.
Yeah, true.
I'll take the Centennial.
I'll read the next one.
I already read the whole entire page.
What do you guys think of the Union Pacific Challenger?
I actually read the whole entire thing, guys. Look, that was it. That was it. The excursion service was ended. That was it. We're done.
Real fan K-Chain Productions. You should read 844.
Yeah. The Union Pacific Big Boy is
on
done.
The private chat.
So let's just move on to another.
All right, then. I'll go ahead and read 844.
Yeah, because I already read the whole entire thing. Honestly, I'm so tired.
Don't blame me, man. I'm gonna try to read the whole thing too, so that way, that would be fair for you.
Right.
I'm gonna try though. Okay, let's get started. Make sure everyone's quiet. Okay, good. Union Pacific 844, also known as the Living Leg. Let's see, Legacy.
Legend?
The Living Legend. No, Living Legend is a Class FEF-3 84 Northern type steam locomotive owned and operated by the Union Pacific Railroad for its heritage fleet. Built in December 1944 by the American Locomotive Company, or ALCO for short, in Sachem-Cœur, New York. Number 844 is one of the 4 surviving FEF series locomotives and the only one in operations. The locomotive operated a revenue service until 1959 It was stored while waiting scrap along with the rest of the Union Pacific steam locomotive fleet. However, in 1960, railroad leaders recognized, recovered the bat fills of having
Benefits.
recover the regain the benefits for having a steam program and retain 844 for special events. I guess for special events, I guess. The key out of what would become the Union Pacific Heritage Fleet. Today, it is one of UP's older service locomotives and the only steam locomotive owned by the North American Class 1 Railroad that has never been retired. Okay, we're into revenue service now. In 1944, the Union Pacific and the American Locomotive Company, or ALCO for sure, class boarding on the FEF-3, a class of 10 resigned it to pull passenger trains up to speeds up to 90 miles an hour. The FEF-3 could reach and regain running at 120 miles an hour. One locomotive reportedly pulled a 1,000-ton passenger train at a speed of 100 miles per hour. All the FDF classes were cited by the Union Pacific to be capable of producing between 4,000 and 500 pound draw bar horsepower. The FEF-3 class represented the Aber of special duty steam locomotive development. Funding and research had been considered into a into the development of diesel electric locomotives. Originally designed to burn coal, they were converted to run on fuel oil in 1946. Like the early FDF-1s and 2 classes, the FEF-3's locomotives were designed to freight service. UP 814 was the last steam locomotive delivered to the Union Pacific Locomotive after concerning it as a member of the class of the FEF-3 of the 844 Northern types locomotives. Upon entering in service, the locomotive spent most of its career pulling the famous passenger trains, such as the Overland Limited, the Los Angeles Limited, Portland Rose, and Challengers. From 1957 to 1959, the locomotive was resigned to fast freight service in Nevada when diesel electric locomotives take over the passenger service. After commencing steam operations ends in 1959, the 844 and the rest of the FEF-3 class were put in storage, more likely waiting for the scrapper storage. However, 844 was saved from scrapping in 1960. Number 844 was chosen for rebuild and now used on the company and public excursion trains, along with hauling revenue freight service during the ferry runs. Since 1960, number 844 had ran hundreds of thousands of miles as Union Pacific publicly locomotive. The locomotive was cited often to pull the Denver Port train, also known as the Cheyenne Frontiers Day Special, which is a train that operates between Cheyenne and Denver every July. More likely, it was used for the rodeo shows, of course, before being discontinued in early 2019. The engine appeared at Export 74 in Spokane, Washington in 1976, departing. Hold on for a minute. Losing track for a second. In the 1978 decapitate of the Union-Tall Railway Museum in Olean, Utah. The 1984 World's Fair in New Orleans, and the 50th anniversary of the Los Angeles Union Passenger Terminal in 1989, when it's performed a side-to-side run with 4449. On February 14, 1995, it pulled Amtrak's San Francisco Zephyr from Denver, Colorado to Cheyenne, Wyoming, with a pair of EMD SDP 40Fs. In 1981, it traveled to an opening at the California State Railroad Museum and at San Carmarte. I need some help with a word. It's like I need help with a word or something.
Sacramento.
Please. Sacramento. Yes, thank you. Along with Union Pacific 3985, which had recently been restored to operation conditions. Over the weekend on August 14, 1990, 844 led a special train from Kansas City Union Station to Atburg, Kansas, for World War II veterans to celebrate 100 years of U.S. President Dwight. I need help with the president's name.
Dwight B. Eisenhower. Oh, sorry. Oh my God! Why did I just say that? I'm so sorry. I meant Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Just say Eisenhower. Just say Eisenhower. His first name is honestly complicated.
The Eisenhower Centennial Special was comprised of cars from the Union Pacific, Burlington Northern, and the Santa Fe Railways business fleet, with additional passenger cars provided by Norfolk Southern and the Chicago Northwestern Railroads. Also present was a General Eisenhower commuter train, codename Bradyul. Oh my gosh. Hold on there. Including the British A steam locomotive number 60008 and commanding and shelf cars from World War II Europe treatment of operations. After the end of the 1991 excursion series, 844 was placed into storage for a minor running gear overhaul, with addition to other parts. During this time, 844 was painted from the passenger gray hull scheme into the freight black. It was emerged from the shops in 1996. On June 21st, 1977, on its way to the Nevada National Railway Historical Society Convention in Salt Lake City, Utah, 844 and the Union Pacific's excursion E units pulled 18 passenger cars on the Union Pacific soon to close Tennessee Pass line, including tracks with a narrow canal shell along with the Arkansas River. On June 24th, 1999, while it was on display during Rail Fair 1990s, one of the 844 boiler tubes failed, and the locomotive was towed dead back to Cheyenne, Wyoming, by the recently overhauled 1995. The tube was found to have been made in the wrong manufacturer during the overhaul in 1996. A discovery that promoted that the replacement of the firebox is a complete overhaul that lasted from September 2021 to 2024. On September 9th, 2004, the UP Steam crew successfully test fired the 840 the 484. It returns to operation service on November 10th, 2004. All right, hold on for a second. Just got to give myself a quick sip of water. Anyway, what were we? Oh, yeah. Between May 18th and 19th, 2007, number 844 teamed up with Southern Pacific 4449 to pull the Paulgate Sound excursion, a trip from Tenncomer to Eveready on the BNSF Railways tracks. On June 25th and 26th of 2010, it made an excursion trip to Melcari, Colorado, for a centennial celebration. I'm not sure what the celebration is, but whatevs. In September 2012, the 844 was used in a UP 150, a celebration for Union Pacific's 150th anniversary celebration. It was hosted by the California State Railroad Museum. During the time, 844's tender derailed on a tight curve track from the Union Pacific's Madsen Summit on its way to the California State Museum. The tender was derailed at 7:30 p.m. In June 2013, the locomotive's graft gear mark lights, installed in 1946, was removed because it was mounting boiler that had hold on for a minute. Can anyone say that word for me, please?
Which one?
It's like I'm at the area in 2000. I'm in June of 2013.
Die rating.
Had a die rating. Okay, thank you. It was also announced that year that UP.
You're welcome so much. I appreciate it, mate.
It was also announced that this year that 844 and 3985 will eventually be joined by a third steam locomotive, Big Boy number 4014, which we had read earlier. After the 2013 season, the locomotive was taken out of service for a boiler work requirement by the change of the water treatment. It spent in 2014 in Cheyenne, and then recently had a early 15-year inspection following the year. Between June 2016, the 844 was test fired, and on July 12, 2016, the Union Pacific Steam team took the locomotive on a break-in run as a sport
That's
all.
Kieran.
What?
Who's Kieran? Jesus.
As a sort of all systems checked and dressed, rehearing for its returning to service. The run was described as a complete success. On July 23rd, 2016, it pulled the Cheyenne Frontier Day Special excursion, which obviously it was still operations before 2029. On October 13th, 2016, the Union Pacific Steam team started its 18 day trip, 18 day track to Tennessee, joining the locomotive's the restoring 844's first major trip. In April 2017, 844 made its first stop in Orlando Short Line River to celebrate the 92th anniversary of the Horace Union Pacific Depot. Because of the heavy storm and the wet spring, the trip was cut short, and the locomotive had to run light across the Mahi River because of a washout bridge. In December 2018, the Union Pacific requested the Federal Administration, or FRA for short, reviving to scoot the 4014, A44, 3985, and 4014 from federal positive train controls requirements. So basically, yeah. In February 2019, the FRA officially responded such that would not be needed. That waiving were not needed. On May 4th, 2019, A44 was part for the 4014 run. The train left the train departed the History Cheyenne Department following the recent restore Big Boy 4014. The two locomotives arrived in Alberta Union Station on May 19th for the city's Heritage Festival. The two locomotives were displayed at the station until May 12th, when they returned to Cheyenne, Wyoming beginning. They arrived in Cheyenne, Wyoming on May 19th, considering the first run of 4014 and revenue service. As of January 2020, 844 and 4014 were the only two Union Pacific steam locomotives to be operations on the active roster, following the retirement of 3985 from excursion service due to its poor conditions it had. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic in March of 2020, UP canceled all of its 2022 steam excursions and state that 814 and 4014 would not be operations for the 2020 operation series. Union Pacific eventually resumed excursion operations with 4014 in August and September of 2021. In July of 2022, no future excursions had been scheduled for 4014. Okay, there. We're at the part now of Union Pacific 8444. From 1962 to 1989, the locomotive was numbered 8444 because the railroad gave the original number 844 to a GP38 locomotive, which in reality the engine is still currently around today. After the GP38 was retired from revenue service in June 1989, 8444 was renumbered back to 844. Now, the GP30 that I mentioned is in the Nevada State Railroad Museum in Boulder City, Nevada, and only operates on the Nevada Southern Railroad Museums on excursion service. There is now an ST-78 on the UP roster, number 8444. Accident. Well, we all know what happened on that day. On July 21st, 2018, while pulling the Cheyenne Frontiers Day Special to Denver, Colorado, 844 struck and killed a woman pedestrian in Henderson, Colorado. It was reported that the rail fender or the pedestrian was trying to take pictures of the train while standing near close to the train tracks before she got hit. The train was stopped immediately following the accident. Unfortunately, the woman died from her injuries. Now we're in the film history.
Well, yeah, we already know about that witness.
But anyways, one thing, and the pedestrian that was passed away during the accident was Callie Yarish, and she's the wife of Steve Yarish. And guys, you gotta listen. And I'm gonna more on so you listen.
Witness, however, there is another thing.
trains are actually wider than the rails themselves, because if your guys are actually going to film a train, take rail fan, train, watch train spot, or capture or a train on video, video on camera,
Or whatever you're doing, just
slow
stay,
mo,
just
and on fat time
stay,
lapse.
like, go in a safe distance away from
Stay
the tracks. That's all I can say.
Yeah, stay away
10
from
feet
25
away
feet.
from the X. Yeah, guys.
Yeah.
Stay
Like,
10
at
feet away from
least be around, for me, I would say, because I used to rail fan a lot of times, I often just stay like at least 5 feet from the rails, you know, at least
I
5
would stay.
feet.
Yo, guys.
Well, yeah, for me, I would be like 5 or 10 feet from the rails because if you touch the train tracks, then that'll be considered trespassing.
Yeah,
I
we
like
do
that
not
ball,
want to
bro.
touch the
Excuse me,
train
guys,
tracks
can
if
I
we do
resume
not
my
want to be
reading?
trespassing.
Hey Elijah, did you see what I sent you in Discord private DM?
Yeah,
Well,
about the
it is
post
another
ending
example,
thing.
too, that I
Yeah,
think
he saw it.
trains are wider than the rails themselves because of one
Can
thing that would let
you
out
turn it
accidents like the
on?
Fox Road accident. The reason it happened was because the bus driver didn't know that 3 feet, like
Oh,
3 inches of the back of the bus were still on the tracks. And because
okay,
of that,
can I
she ended up
resume
being
now?
hit by a Metro flyer coming towards her at 60 miles an hour.
You can talk about the film history.
Okay,
Yeah, we can talk about that
let
too.
you guys resume
If
now.
you, well, if you guys want to see the insights about
All right.
that train wreck, the train wreck documentaries, we did that. We did talk about that wreck. So
All right.
go on the link below to find the stream. We can put that in the
Okay.
link in the description.
All right. The UP 814 was documented in a 1981 film 8444 by the Union Pacific Railroad. Interestingly, some of those clips were later to be used in the opening and closing credits of PBS show Shining Time Station, which the show ran from 1989 until 1995, including the 4-hour long family special. 844 was also appeared in an episode in a show called Extreme Trains, in an episode titled Steam Train, which pulled the Cheyenne Frontier State Special from Denver to Cheyenne, Wyoming. Obviously, I actually watched that episode, and I think it's freaking cool. UP 844 also made an appearance in the second episode of the third series on the TLC TV shows Mostly True Stories. There. And the 1990 PSC special Ghost Train on the Old West, UP 8414, as it was numbered at the time of the filming, was seen pulling a Union Pacific diesel locomotive and a passenger train through Wyoming. 844 and several other store steam locomotives appeared in a music video with part of Patricia Matter Group, The Last Train Home. In 2014, short film Locomotive Song featured 844 partially running its gears, combined to the song of the same name by Boohoo Royal Pat. I'm not sure the song name, honestly. All right, I guess I finish.
Right.
Whew,
Yeah.
that took a lot of work.
Oh, the song obviously. Yeah, I learned to know about that song, to be honest.
Talk about 3985.
Yep.
Yeah.
They also call
My
it the
number
last
one
train
all-time favorite Union
home.
Pacific
That's what they
steam
call it,
locomotive in the
last train
entire
home.
world.
And also there was something else too. That engine.
Wow. Let me talk about the 3985.
It's of Shining Time Station, aka the show that introduced
But
Thomas.
first, we have to
39.
talk about the first. We gotta talk about how the 4664 wheel arrangement was formed. See, let's see. So now here we go. Well, so before the 4664 Challenger was invented, there were other powerful Union Pacific locomotives such as the 210 Santa Fe, 280 Consolidated Switchers, 280 Consolidations, 282 Mikados, 210 sometimes 46 010 wheels, 462 Pacifics, 482 Mountain types, 484 Northern FEF3s, which were made later, 210 Santa Fe types, 410 over or lens and 2882 consolidation mounts, aka bull mooses, and the Union Pacific 9000s. Those engines were doing quite great during excursions, but the Mallets had a bad habit because sometimes they have a rough ride and not great of a characteristics. They were just one of those underdogs that I've heard from History in the Darks. Because if you guys don't know who History in the Dark is, he's this YouTuber who talks about these steam. He talks about these types of kinds of transportation, include trains that are trains, planes, boats, and fighter jets and cars and weapons too. Yes, and if anyone has seen History in the Dark before, or than not, then I feel good for you. But if you haven't watched any of History in the Dark's videos yet, I highly recommend you so.
Honey, it's 9:30. Honey, Elijah, I give you 5 minutes.
Unfortunately, sorry guys, I just decided to can't. And so,
Like with these kind of
No
engines,
music cue?
they sound like creep. I'm not gonna lie.
You're not gonna cue it?
Wait,
Well,
wait.
it's because my mom's telling me to go to bed, unfortunately.
Oh, right, because
Bro,
it's because of school. I hate school.
But I'll do a
Double
part
21,
two,
what you talking about?
and I'll talk about a part 2, and it'll feature.
So I guess this is gonna be
I
it
hope I
for
can read
today's
this
live
Titanium
stream.
next time.
And hopefully that's going to be the end of the live stream. And hopefully I'll see you later next one. So that's all.
That's
folks.
all, folks.
Peace.
Bye,
God
bye,
bless.
guys.
Later, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, lads.